Welcome to the not programming, web designing unit today. And as you can remember from the last session, we finished up to lists. Okay, we were working with classification of the elements, right? Classification elements, that is binary blocked elements, inline elements, and inline blocked elements. That is what we did last week. So from there, today, what we're going to do is we're going to build a navigation bar using list items, right? Using those techniques, we're going to build a navigation bar. That is the starting point of our lesson. So we're going to start there, right? Okay, let's create a web page for that first. After I finish, you can practice this, children. So I'll call this one as demo2.html. This will have just a list item, right? So I will make this one as a unordered list item, in which I will have some list items. Each list item we will have a link. Okay, so I will duplicate this one around 5 times. Okay, let's so URLs, I'm not going to give any real URLs, only the text that is going to be visible to the user. I'm going to type here. So we will have these 5 links in the web page. Let's take a look at it, how it looks without any CSS. This is how it looks. So we're going to give it a format, right? Still, we haven't done the positioning lesson we're going to do next. So only the making it into a navigation bar only, I'm going to build this, right? Okay, so I'm not going to do any code for this, right? I can come over here and I will start my style tag, right? Then we have to start with the selectors, right? So we will say UL. First of all, we will make list style none. Okay, so when I reload that, you will see the list items are gone, right? Let's say margin, let's say all the margins, I'm going to set it to 0. Let's see what's going to happen, right? So there's a small movement. Then padding also, I'm going to set it to 0. Now you'll see it moves to the left of your web page. So that basic indentation is gone now. Now they are listed one after the other, right? So they are listed one after the other. So what are listed one after the other are list items. So I'm going to change the list items. So you can code like this, UL, LI, like this you can code under the UL tag. What comes, the LI, you're going to format. So there's a small problem in this way also. If you have more than one list items in your web page, all of them will get formatted. In that case, you will have to use a ID tag here or a class tag. You have to attribute you have to use and do it, right? We will call this as, let's call that as class nav, right? So we'll use that one, right? Like this. So under the class now, the list items which comes will be formatted like this. That's the idea of this selector. Okay, right. Now I'm going to do a small thing. When I write a CSS code like this, whether this CSS tag I have written here, the rule I have written here, will it work? Will it apply the settings to the components? We have to check. So I'm going to use an attribute called visibility attribute, and I will simply use hidden. This is, I just use this one for debugging, right? So to make sure my code is working properly, then what I will do is I will reload this and see. Okay, so you can see the elements are disappearing now, which means that code is perfectly working. This code is perfectly working, right? I'll erase this one. Then for each list item, you You can see they are appearing one after the other. So we need to make sure they appear uh, not one after the other. They have to appear one adjacent to the other one, right? So we're going to use the display property, display, and you're going to say inline. Just if you say inline, there is a problem. You can't give the height and width for this one. When we set the, for example, let's say if you set a width for this, each item is 150 pixels in wide, it's not going to work. See, I'm refreshing, it's not working. uh, Same thing if you give inline block, so in that case width can be given. So that is the beauty of that, right? So that is why we give display inline block. So 150 pixels is fine, right? Then I'm going to use text dash align. So they are center aligned. Okay, right. We will use a background color also, so you can see that very easily. Background color, so you can see each item is displayed in silver color, right? Right now I would like to have with this given, I like to give a height also. Let's give the height as 40 pixels, so it looks like this. Now you can see, even let's say, let me give around 50 pixels, so you can see it is increasing like that. But the text is not coming down. So if you want to make the text go down, you can use a value called padding, right? You can use the top padding from top value. Let's use 20 pixels. Now remember, when I introduce 20 pixels to the height, the total height of this element going to become 70 pixels. That is, I don't want to do actually. See, it became more taller. So there is, in order to avoid that one, when you add padding, the size is increasing. That means width and height will increase, or either one will increase. In order to stop that, there is a property called box sizing border box. Okay, box sizing border box. If you give, now see, when I reload, it is not going beyond your given width and height. I hope you understand that. The given width height is 50 pixels. Though you increment the padding value, it is not going to go beyond the height. So now you can see it is almost okay where it is appearing. Then we have to get rid of the underlines and all. It will be fine. For the time being, it looks okay. If it is not enough, you want to make it a little bit up, you can make it like that. It will go up like that, right? Okay. Now what we will do is, now the list item is okay, like, now we will work with the other part, which is now how I code like that. Inside that, if there is a link, okay. Now let me teach you something called pseudo classes. You know what is pseudo codes, right? So there are 4 pseudo classes available for a link, which means um, how the link appears once the mouse pointer comes over, how it should appear once you're clicking and holding, how it should be appearing, and a visited link, how it should appear. Visited links, usually they are displayed in purple color, right? So I'm going to write like this colon, and I will type link. So if I write a color red, now you can change the color of the link. You can change the color of the link. Now if you visited, now hereafter the red is gone. See, I already visited that. And if I, right, I can't delete the history. If I delete the history only, it will come back. So uh, so for that reason, we give ul dot nav lia visited. After visiting also, the website look same.
So for navigate, you give NVA. So
Okay, thank you. Something, my machine is a bit slow today. Uh, right, so that is happening there. Next, what we can do is we can do the other two pseudocode classes, right? So like link, we have active also. Active means by the time you're clicking and holding, you can change the color. I am not actually formatting this. Now, if you click and hold, it is turned into green color. I'm still holding the mouse, right? So if while I'm clicking and holding, that's the color which is coming as the active, right? So that is one. Finally, you have hover. You would have guessed it. What do you mean by hover? Hover means once the mouse pointer comes over the link. Let's say you want to change that to white. So when the mouse pointer comes, the text turns to white color, right? So by just using that 3 or 4 pseudo classes, we are taking control over the color attribute of this particular item, right? So that is happening. So you know how to change the colors accordingly. I don't like the font of this one, right? So let me change that also, right? Font family will give us sans serif font, right? Okay, now fine. Apart from that, um, any list item, I don't like underlining also. Text decoration, we give none. Text decoration, none. So the link looks like this, right? The text looks like this. Now you'd have noticed when the mouse pointer comes over here, there is no color changing, right? Once the mouse pointer comes over here, I want to change the background color of this list item. Once the pointer comes over the list item, I want to change the background color of it. So we can come here, you can see this is the list item, ul list item, right? So you can use again the pseudo class, which is hover. I think with table also we did this. Hover means once the mouse pointer comes over. So we'll make sure, yeah, I'm going to say background color. Let's put a little bit light gray color there. So when you reload this, when the mouse pointer comes, that is not visible enough. Okay, now I think it's much visible to you, right? So actually the text is turning to white, so we can fix that, no problem. And I like to have the, when the here, if I click, it's not working, okay? If I go here only, it is getting activated. So once it mouse pointer here, it is just a uh, arrow mark, right? So here only it is coming as a pointer, so we can click and go, right? So what we can do is we can use for links, we can use the um, padding, uh, top and bottom we can give 20 pixels, left and right we can give 30 pixels or 40 pixels, right? So we'll refresh this and see. You can see there's this part is a little bit pushed to the side because here there's not enough space. So this one we will put around 30 pixels. Right, now fine. Once the mouse pointer comes here, You can see the color of the button is also changing, and it is becoming as a pointer. See, all the way it is a pointer. See, around here it is becoming a pointer, right? So around here it is becoming a pointer. So because that's the active area. Okay, so if you want to avoid this mouse pointer turning like this here also, and it should be, once it comes over here only, it is turning to a pointer. Here also, if it wants to be a pointer, here over list item who part, you can say cursor is set to pointer. Now when you reload, so once it comes, the color also, if you click that, it's going to work also. See, here itself it is a pointer and the color also changes. So user is not going to, if I click, nothing happens. If I click and hold, nothing happens. But here if I click and hold, it is active. Okay, so hope you understand that part, right? So that is how basically you work with that. So only this part we will change once the mouse pointer comes over. We will change that not to red, we will change that to black. Okay. So once the mouse pointer comes, it turns to black. So you can use any color that you like. Okay, right, fine. Okay, the next part we're going to do today is going to be, oh, okay, it's going to be CSS positioning. So basically we have this absolute positioning, relative positioning, right? And we will see how we can make position the components, because we learned the height and width. Sometimes we need to push the elements to the right side, left side, or top and bottom. This will be useful for us. So position, we will try how we can make use of this one, right? Um, right. So first of all, we will have here one by one, we will practice them, right? We'll have two headings like this, right? Um, Heading, and we'll have heading here, put style. Let me close that and take it back again, right? Right. So we're going to do like this, right? H, mm, first one, we will give two names for these two classes, position left, position right, okay? So here we'll say position left, right? For position left, we will give, uh, so you can give position, basically you can give absolute or relative. First of all, we're going to give relative and see what's going to happen. Then I'm going to say left, we will give 20 pixels, right? So the next one, I'm going to give h2 dot pos right. That is the second heading, B part. Position, again, I'm going to give relative, right? Left, we will give 20 pixels. This one we will give minus 20 pixels, okay? So so you can see, I think you can see that this is the 100%. I will set a background color for them so you can see them. So it has gone inside that. Okay, it has gone inside that. If we try that for this, so this is 20 pixels, it has pushed to this side, right? Okay, if we give more here, let's say 200, it's going to get pushed more towards this side, right? So position relative is one option that we can make use of, right? Position relative is one thing that we can use. So position relative is the default positioning method also, that is the normal positioning method, right? So first we will do this part, then we can use the positioning absolute, right? Positioning absolute also we can use. So to do that, we will try one more heading, okay? H2, I'll try with this the same thing. Class pos abs absolute. Right. So here we have to give h2 dot right. So here again we have give position absolute, we have to give, then we're going to give left, we'll give a value, right? So 100 px, top we'll give 120 pixels, 150 pixels. So when you reload this, it's going to exactly appear at this place. I can set a background color for that also. So you can see and it is not taking the entire block also, right? So absolute positioning is like that. So that is how it takes up the absolute positioning part, right? Now this part is there, right? Absolute positioning. I want to do one more thing. Let's put some PRE tag here. So the text is here, absolute position, it is there. So everything is scrolling nicely like that. You can see this absolute positioning. See, if I want absolute positioning, top, if I give this one to 60, you can see it is overlapping. So it is coming over that. So exactly where you want, you can position that. You can exactly where you want, you can position that, right? Okay. So there are some situations where you can use that also, right? Okay. Apart from that, there's one more thing is there, which is called fixed, right? So we'll try that also. So h2 class. Other properties are there, you just search them, okay? What those information are doing, okay, right? Position fixed, then left we will give 200, top we will give 100. So it's coming as heading fixed position. I think background color you can't set there.
I think below you gave fixed dash post, sir.
Sorry.
Below, sir. Here post fix now, sir. Below.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, yeah, right. So here can you see this difference? So that is what's happening. Right. So you can make use of this one to display a permanent navigation bar, something, some icons here. So you can work around with this one, right? So just have a little bit of practicing of this one. So you know how to move the things left, right, and top, bottom, those kind of things. It's possible for you to practice, right? So it's better we practice this one properly, then we can do that. No need to hurry up that. We just added headings, children, just to have their blocked elements. So easily we can give a background color and we can practice with them. That's the idea. So relative is there, that is the default one. Relative we will put one after the other when you have more components. Size will be decided, right? So
Excuse
when you
me,
put,
sir.
yeah.
Sir, I have seen some websites have vertically and horizontally they have placed some images like products and all those things. Can we use this method to do that?
Yeah, Ken Puta, you have to practice, and first of all you have to learn the basics, then you have to do. And
Yes.
horizontally and vertically we can put the products, but that I will be doing what do you call this, anyway, the, how do you call that, bootstrap, I'm going to cover responsive designing, in which I will put column by column each products we will put. Let's say you have 5 products. So when you have put 3 products, the rest of the two products will automatically come to the next row. Nicely it will do. We will do that it in the responsive designing. Here we will
Oh,
just learn the customizing the properties only, how to move a little bit up, down, left, right. So that is why we are learning the positioning. Okay.
okay.
Right. Next part we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we can handle overflow. I'll show you an example, then we will come to that. So in order to practice that, I'll create another page. In this web page, carefully watch this, children. We will put, I will simply show you, I'll put a div tag, right? I will put a div tag saying box. Inside the div tag, I'll put 2 paragraphs. Okay, very simple. Okay, 2 paragraphs. Now, if you take a look at the web page, there's no, what do you call that? What is that? If you take this one here, it looks just like ordinary 2 paragraphs, right? Okay. So what we will do is we will come here and we will type div dot box. We'll give a background color. I'll set a light ash color, something like that. Hope that's visible to you. and I will set a particular height and a width for this. Width of this one is going to be 350 pixels. Height of this one is going to be 400 pixels. Let's say 500 pixels. Have 3 paragraphs. Now it looks something like this, right? Okay, no problem. We will make the height a little bit now with this 300 pixels. You can see now there's a ash color or a silver color box you can see, or a rectangle you can see. There are 3 paragraphs. The third paragraph is overflowing the boundary. It's going over the boundary. So we can handle this overflow in a way. So we can give overflow. We can give number one is hidden. If we give hidden, if a component is going over the boundary, that part will be hidden. You can see part of the text you can see here. Part of the text you can see, but remaining part you cannot see. Instead of hidden, if we give scroll, then you get a scroll bar inside the paragraph itself. So you can scroll that component or that particular things, and you can see this is quite useful. But if you give scroll here, and if you have less text there, still the scroll bar is visible. You can see here scroll bars are visible. For that reason, what we do is we give the scroll option to auto. If you give auto, that means if we have components more text, it will display the scroll bar. If you don't have much text, if you don't have much things to display there, it will simply avoid displaying the scroll bar. So that is the basic idea about using this what do you call overflow options. Very handy and very useful in order to do certain design. Sometimes there will be, when you're editing third-party templates, there will be some minute problems will be there. So if you want to get rid of them, you can overcome these margin problems and with problems by using this one, right? So overflow, you can make use of it very nicely, right? Okay, so those are the main, this is the main part I want you to practice now. Next, so I will give you this text itself. First of all, I'll give you this div tag for you. I'll post the recording. Okay, so the next thing we're going to learn is how we can make use of Z indexing. Now, if there are 3 axes, right? So Z is the depth, right? So if we have one component front, say like this, one component and the other component is there, like this. Okay, one is there, and you want to take the other one like this. That's what I want to do, right? Just wanted to show you, right? With the hands it's difficult, right? So if you have 2 objects, this phone is there, the big phone is there in back, so you want to take it like this, you want to stack it up like that. If you want to do like that, that's very easy to do with the Z indexing, right? Let's see how it's done. Let's set up a page for that. Okay, So we have two images, right? No other properties been set, just the width is set, right? So what I'm going to do is uh, we'll call this one as class pick 1, class pick 2, right? Okay. So we'll say img dot pick 1. So in order to make sure it's working, we can say visibility hidden, reload the page and see. Yeah, it's disappearing. That means the code is working. We can give something called Z. We have to say, first of all, position. We'll give absolute, right? So we'll say left 0px, and we'll say top 0px, and we'll say z index, okay? Z index will give 1. Right? So we'll see how it looks, right? So one picture is there. So I want to make sure which picture is the one. So pick 2 is the one which is in the behind, right? Okay. So what we're going to do is, for picture 2 also, let's set a value. For picture 2, we'll set the index is 2. Now you can see I same XY positions I gave, right? Left, and like I'll give left like around 50, so it will be moved to the left side. I can see I'll move around 20 pixels down. Now this is obvious. This is the picture 2, right? This is the picture 2. This is picture 1 background, right? So when you give a large number, it is coming on top of that, on in front of that. If you give a minus figure or small number, it will go back. Let's say pick 2, if I give -1, because you can see here pick 1 is 1. So if you give a less value than that, it will be stuck behind that. Did you see that? Right? Okay, right. Let's try one thing. I don't know whether it will work. Once the mouse pointer comes over Z index, we'll set it to 2. We'll see what happens. Once the mouse pointer comes, the picture gets revealed, right? So seems it's not working, children. I'll find a way to do it, right? I just wanted to make sure it's slowly appearing on top of it. We can make it, I will find it and show you, right? So, but I hope you understand this. Once the mouse pointer comes over, the Z index changes, so it comes on top of it. So if you want to stack images in front or back, you can do this, right? So you can do that, right? All right. So why not? We can practice this also. Just take 2 images and practice them. Okay, students. So for today's lesson, we have come to the end of the part. So, so we basically practiced today's certain parts, and importantly, we practiced about the what do you call positioning. We learned. Then we learned about. Finally, we learned about what do you call. Just hold on a second. I'll just give you a quick recap of that. Positioning. Recap we did about the classification and all. Then we learned on positioning. We learned today. Then we learned about absolute positioning, relative positioning, fixed and scroll. We learned with the differences also. We learned them. Apart from that, we learned about how to what do you call stack the images or the components, that is Z index also we learned. So those are the things that we have covered today. So I will be doing the next part, the next session, which is going to be layout designing. There are some part we have to do for the pseudo classes. Let me do that part. After that, I will be doing the layout designing. Okay. So see you in another session. Then till then, stay home, stay safe. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir.